welcome back. Here we are again on the cast. This is the Colorado Kayak Fishing Club podcast. It feels like it's been a while, but it is season 1, episode 15, and we're almost done with season 1. So, of the podcast at least. With us tonight, we've got our 2024 tournament directors. We've got Jeremy Pierce, who'll be returning for bass, and then welcome back Jamie Sandrovich on the multi side. Jamie and Jeremy, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me. Yep.
All right. Well, Jamie's no stranger to the club. He's been on the board before, I believe, right, Jamie?
Yeah, I was. So I turned things over to Justin, and now Justin's going to be turning things back over to me. So, yeah, I was on with. Actually, I think Jeremy and I were on the board together my first year, and then I spent some time with when Brett was president, and that group, and then Justin took over, and so yeah, now I'm back for next year.
Awesome. Well, welcome back. I'm sure everyone's glad to have you. Big thanks to Justin for all he's done. And but today we're here to talk about the 2024 season. We're going to talk a little bit about a few admin notes before that. We've got Red Willow coming up this weekend, actually. And Jeremy, if you want to talk about that, stage is yours.
Yep, this weekend we'll be at Red Willow in Nebraska. It's Red Willow State Recreation Area, Hugh Butler Lake. We did have a unfortunate event where we got double booked with Centennial Bass, but I've actually already talked to them. They're going to push off their launch a little bit. They're pushing their morning meeting just a little bit and then pushing their launch to the right just a hair. So if you're using the main boat ramp on kind of the northeast side of the lake, get down there, get into the water as quick as possible. Launch time is going to be at 6:30. So what's going to happen is they start bringing the boats around. It's kind of a U-shaped or an H-shaped ramp, and they'll bring their boats around and come back up the other side. And as they're starting to stack in that H-shaped ramp area, when you're launching on the bottom left, it's going to actually block you in because they'll start coming down the ramp forward to then swing around the other side. So if you could just kind of imagine that, it's going to create like a little pocket to one side where kayakers can launch, but you're not going to be able to get your trucks back up. So try to get down there a little bit early, get your kayak into the water, get your truck back up into the parking area. With that, also make sure that you've got your day pass. It is $12 for a day pass. If you want to get an annual, that's on you. But then also your non-resident fishing license for the state of Nebraska. So I just purchased mine today for both. It was about $36.50. So make sure you've got your permits. Make sure it's up in your window. From what I've talked to them, they said on tournament weekends and stuff, the park manager comes out pretty often. Phil, he seems like a real nice guy. But just make sure that you've got your stuff. We don't want any black eyes on the club. Again, launch time 6:30, lines in 6:45, and then because of the time change and having to launch later, lines out is going to be at 2:30 in the afternoon, and then fish submissions by 3 p.m. And then our award ceremony, I posted a picture of it and hopefully a Google link that worked for Google Maps. If not, you might have to actually copy and paste it into your browser. But it's basically the next boat ramp to the south from the main ramp on that east side. Basically, if you go through the Willow Creek campground, all the way to the very end, there's another boat ramp there. They've got a pretty big parking area, but that boat ramp is cabled off. So you can still use the boat ramps are cabled, but you won't be able to roll your kayak underneath them with rods on. So take that into account. But we're going to use that parking lot for this kind of southeast ramp. So if you got any questions, anything like that, feel free to message me. I'll be plenty available between now and Saturday morning. So that's about it for Willow Creek. Or Red Willow.
And we'll have for Red Willow, we'll have the captain's meeting as usual the night before as well. So if there's any updates, you'll have them there. Is there a time you recommend people getting their vehicles back up into parking by, like a no later than time, maybe?
Probably definitely going to want to have your kayak on the water and your vehicle back up into the parking area if you're using that main ramp by about 6:25 to 6:30. So right at launch time, we should be okay. But they said they'd probably be done with their morning meeting about 6:30. So they'll probably start rolling their trucks down pretty quick.
Cool. Good to know. Awesome. Yeah. So So just follow the Facebook page on that for the meeting, the captain's meeting the night before with Jeremy. He'll have all the updates, your identifier, and everything for that. And with that, let's get into the season. So, Jeremy, I'll let you take it off. We're going to start our first one with bass here. Then we'll just kind of ping pong back and forth between bass and multi, and kind of discuss, the waters that we're going to, what changes we've made, maybe why we've made them, and then anything new and additional that's unique to the next season.
Awesome. So kicking it off next season, we're looking at a 4 May, so we're pushing it back just a hair, hoping to run into some good weather. Our early tournaments have been a nightmare as of recent, but 4 May, we're looking to go up to Fort Collins to Horsetooth. They've got a great spring bite. That'll be probably pre-spawn. The bats will just start moving up a little bit shallow. Should be a pretty good time. If you've ever watched any of Scott Brand's videos when he's up there, or even Fishful Thinker, as the weather just kind of starts that burgeoning and warming up, it's a pretty good bite up there. So we're looking forward to that one. And then we move on to the first multi-species after that. So Jamie, I'll let you kick that one.
Yeah, so it looks like we've got a double dip going on at Pueblo in late May. So late May at Pueblo's been traditionally pretty good. As far as the the multi-tournament goes, we always do that bonus fish. So what we don't know yet is what that bonus fish will be. So we'll kind of try and figure that out throughout the rest of this year and the next year, and see what we want to do. See if we want to change it up. It's always been trout. People have had difficulty catching a trout there, but you know what, crappie and perch and whatever are difficult to catch there as well. But I guess I'm one to experiment with things, and this is a multi-species series. Why not bring something else in besides pike, trout, bass, and walleye? We'll see. I'm open to feedback.
So that's 18 May at Pueblo. The 19th, we go back to the bass side. There at Pueblo, again, that's that early spring bite there. It's absolutely on fire. Alex caught one of the best bass bags I have absolutely seen in the state of Colorado in an in-person tournament at the Pueblo tournament this year. So we're looking forward to that one. It's going to be really good. From the 18th and 19th of May, we jump forward a couple weeks to 8th and 9th of June. This is going to be a new lake for us. I looked back. I couldn't find any history of us going there as a club before, but we're actually heading to Elkhead. 8 June bass, 9 June for multi. So Elkhead, as a lot of people know, they had the smallmouth kill-off bounty, basically. They were trying to kill smallmouth and pike. I've talked to several people. They've also, what they started doing with that, because the feds don't really care about largemouth because they don't spawn in this in the river as well. Like, they've been dumping largemouth in there for the past 4.5 years or so now. They've actually got a real healthy population from everything that they're reporting and they're catching. And then also a lot of people, if you look at the smallmouth bounty, over the last year and a half to 2 years, there haven't been hardly any fish over 14 inches in smallmouth that were submitted for the bounty. So people are actually going there and they're catching good smallmouth and releasing them. They're only bountying out the little ones. So I've talked to several people that have been there over the last year. They're catching a lot of 16, 17, and a handful of 18s at that lake for smallmouth. So I'm hoping that holds up, and we should be able to have a pretty good tournament out there, bass wise. And then for multi-species, Jamie, have you ever been out there?
I've never been out there. I know nothing about that lake at all, except for the fact that you've said that there's smallmouth or largemouth in there and pike, and the trout population is next to none, I guess, as well, which surprises me.
So there's still some absolute trophy pike in that lake. I've seen a handful of 36s and 37s pulled out, as well as about 3 weeks ago there was a 42 pulled out of there, and all of them were released. So they're not taking the $20 bounty for the trophies, which is kind of good to see. I know that the feds are trying to get them out of the Colorado River system, but honestly, a handful of big ones aren't really going to hurt too much in the reservoir because they're not really moving out. But there's also a real healthy crappie population there, as well as some other different species and stuff in that lake. So we're looking forward to that one. Jamie, you want to take the next one?
Real quick, just a little more info on Elkhead. Where's it located at, and kind of like distance from maybe like the Springs, Denver?
So it's pretty much north central Colorado. So from the Springs, it's about 4.5 hours. It's about close to the same driving distance as Red Willow, but we're staying in Colorado. I think it's like 3 hours and 10 minutes from kind of the middle section of Denver. So not way too far, nothing crazy. Staying in the state, and then also we looked at the June weather for that area. It's usually pretty good.
Yeah.
Looks like it's what, north of Granby, south of Steamboat, kind of that area there. Yeah, 170-ish miles from Colorado Springs. So, it's out there, but it's something new.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Weather out there is probably way better in June than.
The one thing that I did notice to caution everybody on is that the campsite there looked quite limited. I think I counted like 27 campsites. So I would suggest that if you are planning to go out there, reserve something early, or reserve something close, because it's probably going to fill up pretty quickly.
Good call.
So it looks like, then the next one would be Spinny in June. Spinny in June will likely be awesome. That'll be after the hatch, but there'll still be obviously lots of bugs out there. But Spinny in June has always proved to be a great time, and I think you guys did it this year in July, and there was a little difficulty in catching trout. So don't really suspect that or expect that in June. So everybody knows, Spinny, the place for the trophy trout and the trophy pike. So that's always something that someone doesn't want to miss. And if you decide you're going to get 2 chances at Spinny this year and 2 chances at 11 Mile, but I'll talk about that here after we talk about Trinidad. So it looks like then, Jeremy, we've got Trinidad double dip as well.
Yep.
And it looks like Multi is first on that one too. So it looks like Multi is on Saturday, and looks like Bass is Sunday for that one. And, Trinidad, I don't know, for me, Jeremy, I don't know about you, but as far as the bass side goes, we have bass in the multis as well, but it's been kind of up and down. Some years it's been really good and big numbers, and then some years it hasn't. Last year it seemed like it was pretty good with the numbers, but hopefully next year we'll get some good numbers out of Trinidad on the multi side and the bass side. Yeah,
so that's the 17th and the 18th of August. Again, the 17th Saturday is going to be the multi-species, and that's honestly one of my favorites. I've won it twice. Trinidad has treated me pretty well. I've got 3 trophies from there altogether. And this past year, as Matt can attest, the bass numbers went back to kind of how they were like 3 to 4 years ago. It had been fishing down a little bit. I won the bass side a couple of years ago with, I think, 79.5. This year I broke 80 and got 10th place. So
I think I won, and I think my smallest was 17 or 17 and a quarter. So it was a great year. And there were some people right there with it. So it was a good year. I'm interested to see how it's going to be in August. I haven't fished down in Trinidad that late in the year, or that late into the summer, but I'll be interested to see how that goes, and especially how the walleye bite is and everything there too. So
that's the big one. We had an up year for bass this year at Trinidad. But the walleye bite was a lot slower and a lot smaller than it had been for quite a long time. I won big fish with an 18 and a quarter, I think, on multi-species. That's unheard of at that lake. So that was kind of surprising. So hopefully the walleye bite will pick up. Hopefully there'll be some big walleye moving around. But we'll see that one. It's usually a real good fishing weekend either way. So even if you're getting smaller fish, you're getting a pretty constant bite. All right, so the next one there is another bass. The next one is 7 September at Boyd. That's rounding out the season for bass for the normal season. We've got a bonus that we'll talk about here in a minute. But 7 September at Boyd, you're starting to get into that kind of the real late summer period. starting to get into that early fall. There's a lot of shad around. So this year we're hitting Boyd like real toward the end of the month. Next year we're bringing it back a little bit earlier in September. We'll kind of see how the water levels and stuff play out. This year, there's a lot of water in that northern area because of all the rain and stuff that we've got. So we'll kind of see what happens next year as we push a little bit earlier. And then 14 September, that's yours, Jamie?
Yeah, it looks like the following week will be at 11 Mile. So I'll say very similar to what we're doing this year. So we've got Boyd and 11 Mile both coming up in September. So, 11 Mile late in the season. Last year it was really good. We're expecting it to be really good this year as well for trout and pike. And I'm going to go right into, something that I had mentioned earlier about having two shots at Spinney and 11 Mile. Those of you that have been with the club for a while may remember a few years ago when we did what we called the South Park Slam. It was a virtual tournament. It was an experiment too. We wanted to see how it would work out. And it was one day, and we gave the angler the option to choose which lake they wanted to go to, either Spinney or 11 Mile. Well, the failure there was everybody went to Spinney. And so we ended up just having another Spinney tournament, and no one went and fished 11 Mile. And that's okay. And that was somewhat expected. But I've heard over the years, and I even heard back then, that people really wanted a 2-day tournament out there. So I thought, why not? Why not try it this year? And again, kind of do an experiment here and see how it works. But this tournament will be fundraiser only. It won't count towards multi AOI. It'll be something that, we're going to try and come up with a great prize for it. Maybe it's one of those tournaments, I don't know, where we give away a kayak to the winner, but the proceeds will go towards the charity that we pick for next year. It's going to be a 2-day tournament, but I guess the difference is going to be that one day we're going to fish Spinney, the next day we're going to fish 11 Mile, and then you're going to have a 2-day bag. And again, the winner takes away whatever the great prizes that we're able to come up with. So if we get a sponsor to sponsor that tournament, fantastic. But more to come on that. But we're trying. Right now it's tentatively scheduled for mid-July, so that weekend of July 20th and 21st. We don't have any other tournaments in July now, so it kind of works out to be that month at this point. So again, something different, something new. See how it works. Hopefully everybody likes it, and hopefully we get a big turnout. Man,
2 days in South Park, get your calculators out. Yeah. It can be a big 2-day bag.
We should definitely see some like 225 or something like that. Yeah. We'll see.
Oh, that'll be awesome. And the amount of tiger muskies that'll be caught over 2 days will be pretty cool, I bet, too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't see it on the 1 day, but you'll see it on a 2-day for sure.
Be ready to see some tiger muskies from Red Willow in people's personal pictures and stuff. They're thick at that lake.
Yeah.
All right, the last thing for next season, we're changing it up a little bit. We talked to the board about how we could do some different stuff for the AOY race, and how we could just bring a little bit of change to the schedule and to some of the things that we're doing, make things a little bit more competitive. So the season wraps up 14 September at 11 Mile. But then after that, 28 September and 29 September at Chatfield. We're looking at doing actual championship tournaments. So the top 20 for each series will have their respective day. So Bass is going to be on the 28th, Multi on the 29th. It's going to be 1-day tournaments each, top 20 for AOY invited. And then that's going to be 2 times AOY points added on to your top 3. So that's really going to be a game changer as far as the AOY race, because we've had people run away with a couple of the AOYs, but having one tournament at the very end that's worth double points could really change some stuff up and shake things up. So we're trying to hash this out, make sure that we get this done right. But it looks like it definitely, late September at Chatty, if you follow Sean Rogers and some of the the tight line guys, things like that, there's some crazy fish pulled out of Chatty fall transition period. Huge smallmouth. I've seen some between 18 and 19 and a half, and then lots of walleye at that time. So that could be a real interesting tournament.
they filled that lake up this year too,
Yep.
with all the water we got. It came up a lot, so it could be pretty cool there.
So I think that's it for the schedule. Just a reminder, we're winding down the season. We've got the end of year celebration on the 7th of October at the pavilion at Chatfield, where we normally have it as well. And we've got 2 kayaks to give away. So that's going to be an absolute blast. Try to show up if you can. We're going to have a good time. There's going to be a lot of people talking about the season. We'll have the AOY presentations and, of course, the 2 kayaks, the Old Town Sportsman PDL and then the Native Slayer Max 12.5.
Yeah, it's awesome. We want to thank Old Town and then Native and Waterline for that giveaway there. And it's a great banquet to attend. Sometimes we're just out on the water. We don't get to really kind of meet and greet people as much, but it's just kind of a get together. Be a good time. We'll have food, drinks, and bring the family. You can go fish out there at Chatfield too. So, but come on out. We'll have Rookie of the Year, Angler of the Year, all that stuff given out there, and it's going to be a good one.
And we've got just a ton of random prizes left too.
Yeah, there's there's a ton. Another thing I just wanted to kind of highlight is we are getting to our end of the year. So we'll have our charity that we give to at the end of the year. That's True Patriot Outfitters. Gene Campbell, who've been working with, is doing that. We're excited to give away that at the end of the year to them. It's going to help take veterans, first responders out on the water, do kayak trips. It's pretty cool what he's doing.
I actually got to go out with Gene. He had an Army veteran with him at Red Willow this past week, or not this past weekend, but the weekend before. And what he's doing is absolutely awesome. He's working through his True Patriot Outfitters, and then they're also working together with the Romans Warrior Foundation to do some of the out-of-state trips and things like that. But he's working hard to expand True Patriot Outfitters. He's taken a lot of advice from local veterans on expanding that, who he needs to talk to get the right people out with him that really, could use those kind of trips. So he's doing it the right way. He's got all of his, certifications and nonprofit stuff set up. And he's really trying to grow that and do something special for Colorado veterans, first responders, and their family members to get out there and have an amazing trip.
Yeah, he's got a good heart for that. And I really appreciate all he's done. Great dude. We'll probably see him out there on our trail next year, fishing around with us. I think we might be able to pull his arm, twist his arm on that one. A couple more things I want to talk about. So I know it's far out. It's going to be April next year, but it sounds like the All-American is kind of solidifying some things on their side for the All-American Kayak Classic, which is in Truman. Each year we send our top, I think it's been typically our top 10 from Bass and Multi that have been qualified to go to that. It's a huge tournament out there. I think they had 200 plus anglers last year on Truman, which is a giant lake, can fit well over that for kayak anglers. But it's a great time. We go out, typically get an Airbnb and just have a good time, basically spend a whole week out there fishing. It's a 2-day qualifier. They put the details out about it, but I think they're going to do the top 15 qualifiers per series. So if that is something you're interested in at the end of the year, as long as you're in the top 15, and that's Bass or Multi, and I think they're even doing roll downs on it, we could probably get you into that. So if you're interested, definitely reach out at the end of the season. Even as we wind down after the season, we'll solidify that. We just need to get our names submitted to that, do all the behind the scenes, emails and stuff with Josh Booth and stuff to get all that sorted out. But it is going to be coming up soon, April next year. Just wanted to push that out because it is a great time. I went this last year. Jeremy, you were there.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Freaking blast.
That was awesome.
So,
yeah, that was a great place to fish.
yeah, you're there. Yep. And there's drum out there. They'll follow you all the way from Colorado to. I did not expect to catch a drum, but yeah, they're there. And then a couple other things. I want to thank our sponsors this year. Specifically Native, Old Town, Shields, everybody that's on the list up here, we wouldn't be able to basically give as much as we do if we didn't have the sponsors that we have. And with that, Old Town was a huge sponsor this year. We were basically able to push all the money that we would have towards big bass into the pot for, the actual like top 3 or 4 or 5, depending how many entries we had, how we did it this year, and then the rest funneling into the donation, because Old Town gave us that $2,500, which ended up divvying out into $250 over 10 tournaments that we hold. So big thanks to them for stepping up for that. That was a huge help for us. Just our entry fees went more to our charity because of that. So huge thanks to all the sponsors that we've got. And then, hey, if you know somebody that's or a company or work that you work with that you think would be a good fit for 2024, it's not too early. Just let us know, and we can link that together and discuss kind of how we work that, the different tiers that are there. We can get with Scott, who's our sponsor manager, on that. And then lastly, I just wanted to give Alex some props. Alex Rojas, the former board member, times like I don't know how many times he's been on it, but very near and dear to the club. He's kind of moved on from the president or board director position, and he's doing some really cool things to help promote kayak fishing in Colorado. He's working with CPW to have some serious discussions on kind of the way forward for kayak fishing for us in Colorado, and he's kind of our advocate out there holding those discussions. So if you do have some things that you'd like for him to talk about with CPW, I know some issues that have already been discussed are, kayak specific launches, standardizing ANS inspections for motors, that type of thing. Alex is doing some great work there. So I just wanted to give him some props as he's going into those discussions. And if you guys have anything extra, that would maybe be a good idea for him to discuss, to definitely bring it up to him. So, well, cool, guys. Anything else that I've missed?
2 quick things. This weekend, especially if you're fishing Red Willow, or if you're not joining us and you're going to fish here in the state, Terry Dorr is putting on a charity tournament through Fishing Chaos. It's for an amazing cause. I'm not going to get into it right now because part of it's a surprise for someone. But check that out. It's a great opportunity. Or if you just want to donate to that cause and you know what it is from Horsetooth, or if you want to reach out to myself to talk about it, feel free. But that's an amazing cause. And then other words, also a shout out to Native being one of our sponsors. We're also trying to push. They've got a big tournament coming up on 28 October at Lake Fork. It's one of their Native No Limit Power Hour tournaments. We're trying to get, as many people as we can signed up for that. We've got a big group from Colorado, it sounds like, going down there. But as long as they get over, I think it's 100 or so competitors. I think it's $1,000 an hour that they're giving away for big bass. Plus they've got big prizes for your top finishers. And it's kind of MLF style. There's a minimum size limit. All your bass that meet that size that day count towards that limit. They've got kayaks that they're giving away, all kinds of stuff. It's a huge tournament. If you ever watch any of Greg Blanchard's videos on them, they put on an absolutely amazing tournament. So being one of our sponsors, we really, try to support them. If you can make it down to Lake Fork, it's just an excuse to go down to Texas and fish. So, if you're interested in that, look it up, hit up one of us that are already kind of going, I'm planning on going. I think there's a big group. So just hit us up if you need information on it. But yeah, that sounds like it's going to be an absolute blast. And, Native's been, trying to expand that series of tournaments throughout the country. So it should be a real good time.
Yeah, I'm sure it's one of the highest paying out tournaments out there right now. Should be a good time. Cool. Anything else?
That's it for me.
Cool. Jamie?
One more plea or comment is that I'd love to see some of the bass guys come over to that 2-day South Park tournament. That would be it'd be awesome to see some of you. We already get a bunch, but some of you that don't usually fish the multi, come on over, have some fun that weekend.
Yeah, I got a win this year. Matt Flanagan was telling me he was considering it, and I said, "Hey, dude, you can just bass fish out there. You'll
Yep.
catch them, dude. And he ended up catching a monster pike out there. I think he had a pretty good time. So yeah, I completely agree. It's a blast. That's my favorite place to go. So
Yep.
cool. All right. Well, thanks guys for coming on. Jamie, thanks again for volunteering. You've already given a ton of time to the club, and we appreciate you donating it forward on the multi side again. And Jeremy, you as well. Thanks for all you're doing. And we'll look forward to this weekend at Red Willow. If you guys have any questions on it, just stay tuned to the Facebook page. Jeremy will have his captain's meeting at, it's going to be, hey, what time is it going to be? Is it going to be 8 p.m. Nebraska or 8 p.m.? What are we working with?
It should be 8 p.m. Mountain Time. I don't foresee myself being across the border by that point. So look for it at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 9 Nebraska. But yeah, I'll go over all the pertinent stuff that we normally do for the captain's meeting. So
awesome. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, guys. Appreciate everything. And thanks for tuning in for everybody that's watching. Have a good one.
awesome. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Yep.